Alright, and now, welcome guys, we are about ready to start Super Mario Brothers. Very, very classic game. I'm definitely excited for this one. So let's go ahead and throw it over to Supersonic to take it away. Good luck.
Alright, thanks again. And here we are with the final run for my block here. And this is Super Mario Brothers, and as you see on the timer, I do have the offset to minus 3.27. So once we start the game and we'll gain control on Mario, that's when the run actually begins. So without further ado, we'll go in 3, 2, 1, go. Alrighty, so Super Mario Brothers. I'm sure a lot of us played this like when we were younger, or a lot of us. Pretty sure like even the younger generation that played this game as well. Oops, kind of got stuck there. No big deal. So now 1-1. So we did power up early there. So it's actually safer to get the mushroom and the fire flower in 1-1 and 1-2. Normally in like PB attempts or like going for a record and all that, we get power ups in 1-3 and 1-4. So we're doing this a little differently here. This is usually like the race strat as well as the marathon strat. So, and of course, like SpeedGaming has hosted the SMB1 Warpless tournaments in the past. So we have seen like a lot of the runners, including myself, we would start off with the 1-1 and 1-2 power-ups. So pretty much we want to stay as Big Fire for the entire run. Even if we lose power-ups, there are backup power-ups that we can grab. But let's hope that we don't have to do that. So you kind of noticed that I did a little bit of a weird jump there. So I did a buffer jump out of the pipe. And since I exited the pipe in a 52 in 1-2, I pretty much held the jump button and grabbed the flagpole at 345. So if you end up getting a 1, 3, or 6 on your timer after beating a stage, it'll give you 1, 3, or 6 fireworks respectively. One firework doesn't necessarily waste any time, but if you get like 3 fireworks, it'll waste like roughly a second, and then 6 fireworks is like about 2.5 roughly. So here's the reason why we need fire, like for the entire run. So we're in the castle stage right now. And instead of grabbing the axe, we're gonna shoot down Bowser. Just gonna avoid these fire bars. There we go. It takes 5 fireballs to kill Bowser, unless you can get a fireball to hit both of his hitboxes. So Bowser is very strange. He has 2 hitboxes on him. So there's one on the top half and one on the bottom half. If you manage to get a fireball to hit in the center of both of those hitboxes, it'll actually deal 2 damage instead of 1. So you can actually get a 4-shot kill if you end up getting one of those fireballs to hit both of those hitboxes. But anyways, just like that, we are done with World 1. We're into World 2 here. Just kind of navigating through, and those springs can be evil sometimes. There are some instances where if you have like a lot of sprites on screen, like the spring will despawn and you'll soft lock. So either you have to like let the stage time out or just do a reset altogether. But thankfully we didn't have that happen, so we're pretty much in the clear right now. So now we're in the water stage here. So we're going to be seeing a lot of cheap cheeps and bloopers. And normally like people would shoot them down and all that, but sometimes I kind of leave a lot of them alive unless I necessarily have to shoot them. This will also come into play in 7-2 because that is also a water stage that is pretty much like this one. However, it has like more enemies in the stage. So pretty much swimming on over here. Stay on top, swim over this coral, get rid of that cheap there. And we're done with the stage. So you kind of notice that I shoot fireballs like when I grab the flagpole. That doesn't really do anything. It's just something that I do for fun. And you kind of see like the fireball just bounce off the top there. Alright, 2-3, we got some cheap cheeps to deal with. So they can jump pretty high in this area. So we're just gonna avoid them as best as we can. Sometimes we can shoot them down if they're like really in the way. But aside from that, this looks like a pretty good pattern, so we don't have to worry about it here. Alright, done with that. So this game has frame rules, and frame rules are basically either 21 frames or 0.35 seconds. There has been that analogy about the bus stop. So like pretty much at the end of each stage you can treat it like a bus stop, and each bus leaves every 21 frames or 0.35 seconds. And depending on how fast or slow you play the level, it's pretty much going to determine what kind of patterns you'll get for the following stage. And this usually applies to, like, I would say the water stages and then the bridge stages, and especially for the castles as well, like with Bowser's behavior, because Bowser can either jump forward, backwards, or he can actually change direction in the air. And for a big guy like that, like changing direction in the air is pretty impressive. But anyways, we're in 3-1 now. This is like the introduction of the Hammer Bros, but we only see them just for a slight bit there. Alright, done with 3-1. So in 3-2, there are a lot of enemies in this stage, but we're not going to be shooting them or anything. We're just going to avoid them altogether and probably shoot like maybe a couple here and there. Yeah, you gotta do a duck jump there because we do have a bigger hitbox. So Mario is basically 2 tiles high. Also, there's Thank You Goofy there. So we say Thank You Goofy for that part of the level because a fellow Warpless runner by the name of Goofy Chocobo, he found a strat where if we shoot fireballs to the music, it will actually despawn 1 or 2 Goombas at the end of the stage. So it pretty much gives us a free pass to get through. And you kind of notice that I jumped through the platform there. Only Big Mario can do that because the platform is low enough for him to jump through, and they're pretty thin as well. They're not like blocked at all. They're like very tiny or like thin lines. So anyways, we're heading into 3-4. Usually for PB attempts we use a spreadsheet to know what frame rules we're on. But since I don't know what frame rule I'm on, we will be playing this level safe. Especially for this Podoboo section right here. It is actually possible to bypass all of those, but since we don't know what our patterns are going to be, we can actually play it a little safer. Like, it'll cost a little bit of time, but not too much. So just like that, we're already done with 3 worlds. We're heading into World 4. So 4-1, a lot of you may have seen this level in any percent. Which, by the way, I want to give a shout out to Nifsky, who broke the any percent world record earlier today with a 455.430. Huge congrats to him. So the any percent route, you pretty much see 8 stages instead of the like the 32 stages from Warpless. So you would see like 1-1, 1-2, then 4-1, 4-2, then all of World 8. But in this case, we're seeing every single stage. So now we're heading into 4-2, which is another underground level. This is like my favorite stage in Warpless. Any percent, you can actually do the wrong warp here, but we're not going to be taking any warp zones. So there are 2 routes you can take. You can go either the top route or the bottom route. I love going the bottom route here, especially when you have Fire Flower. Like, you could choose to pick off those enemies if you want to. There you go, I picked off a few of them. And just like that, we're done with the stage. Let's grab this flagpole. So now we're heading into 4-3. And in 4-3, we're going to see like a lot of mushroom tops. And if we pretty much keep holding right the entire way, we can actually get a frame rule here, which will get a faster screen transition. So we call that sky boots. So when we grab the flagpole, if we see like a pixel of sky underneath Mario's boot, we will get the frame rule. And it looks like we did. So we'll see a little quicker screen transition here. Alright, so 4-4 is the maze stage. In the current Warpless record, which is currently held by GTAce, with the 1859.008, so he's like 1 frame off from getting an 1858. There's a clip you can do there that'll save roughly 2 frame rolls if everything's done correctly. But I was gonna go for the I was gonna go for the clip there, but I bonked against the wall, like on the ceiling. So this is a bit unfortunate getting hit there. I was trying to like avoid the fire bar, but then Bowser's fire was in a very strange spot. So I pretty much took the hit there. So in 5-1 there are no power-ups, unfortunately. So we're just gonna have to stay small here. You could pretty much grab that star if you wanted to, but we don't really need it. Okay, just gotta avoid these guys. I think should be good on grabbing the flagpole. Yep. Yeah, I was kind of checking the timer to see if I was gonna grab a 6 there. Thankfully we didn't. Okay, 5-2, the opening is a bit sketchy because there's a cannon launcher, which thankfully didn't shoot. So we're just going to go ahead and grab power-ups here. And there are plenty of power-ups in this stage. And we got Hammer Brothers to deal with as well. So. Oop, create a little bit of lag, but we're still okay. Okay, do a jump here. Oh boy. I miscalculated that. I forgot that the Koopa doesn't stay in the same spot if you like try to grab power-ups. Oh, first death, that's no big deal. Thankfully we did get the checkpoint in 5-2, so we don't have to like traverse very far. Okay, let's play this a little safer here. There you go. Yeah, 5-2 can be quite a stage. Like a very dumb stage. But that's okay. At least we got through that. So now we got 5-3. This is basically a copy of 1-3, except we got bullet bills. And these bullet bills, sometimes they will be in fixed spots. But you can pretty much react to them, just like that one. Like, that was pretty low, but thankfully we didn't get hit there. Alright, anyway, we're heading into 2-4. Or 2-4, sorry, 5-4, which is a copy of 2-4. We're gonna wait under that power-up block until the clock hits 292, and this will give us good fire bars. This was found by Royal T, or formerly known as Royal Gamer, so we call it Royal Good Bars. Alright, just shoot down Bowser and be on our merry way. Alright, so we're done with World 5. Bit shaky, but not a big deal. Heading into World 6, got a few more worlds to go. So this is kind of like 4-1 in a way, where you got a Lucky 2, but we just stomped on him and we're not going to see him for the rest of the stage. And just kill off this Piranha Plant, and we don't have any more enemies to deal with here. So just pretty much just get through this level. And we got a 51 on the timer. So that's going to give us one firework, but it doesn't really matter in terms of time loss. Like, it's going to be the same exact time compared to, like, not grabbing, like, the other, you know, like, grabbing the flagpole, like, without getting fireworks. So 6-2, this is a lot of people's favorite stage, mainly because of the fire flower. You can pretty much shoot a lot of these piranha plants. Alright, shoot that guy down. And we're going to intentionally slow down here so we can get a 2 at the end of the timer. So avoiding the fireworks. Alright, so now we're in 6-3. This is like the snow level, but it's not really snow. It's just colored like that. So we're going to do a risky duck jump. Barely made that one. Okay, just gotta watch out for the bullet bill. Okay, we got good bills there. If you manage to play this level really fast, you could get a 6 at the end of the timer. But if you end up getting a 5, like on the frame, it changes to a 5. You can actually get the frame rule. So 6-4, this is the copy of 1-4. I tried to do a duck jump, but I didn't read my down input. Okay, we're just gonna wait for these fire bars to go. That was a little unfortunate. But, oh dear. Okay, we're gonna have to get power-ups in 7-1. And Bowser's not being kind here. So this is what happens when you don't shoot down Bowser. So you grab the axe, and then you just have to let the bridge collapse. and it costs roughly 2.5 seconds. Alright, 7-1. Got 2 more worlds remaining. I'm going to try to power back up with fire. And you kind of notice I jumped out of a power-up animation. So during the animation, you can actually hold the jump button, and Mario can do a jump out of the, like, once the animation's complete. Okay, at least we're powered up with fire again. So now we have 7-2, which, as I mentioned, is just like 2-2, except we got more enemies, so like more cheeps and bloopers. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna try not to kill any of these guys. Just gotta pretty much keep them around, because there is an instance where there is a bad blooper at the end of the stage, and he can pretty much cause a lot of havoc. We'll pretty much just shoot down the enemies that are completely in our way. If we end up losing fire here, we won't be able to get fire back until 8-2, because there is a power up in 7-3, and then, you know, no power ups in 7-4, and then 8-1. So 8-2 is like your next best bet to get fire. Alright, we didn't get the bad blooper at the end, so that's good. Okay, so 7-3. Just like 2-3, there's going to be a lot of cheeps flying about, and there's going to be Koopas in this stage as well. So there are instances where the cheeps can actually run into the Koopa, and the Koopas will change direction. Thankfully we didn't get that, but this cheep pattern is not friendly. Okay, at least we managed to avoid a lot of that. Okay. So now we're heading into 7-4, which is another maze level. So in the first phase here, I'm gonna go bottom, middle, then top. And then on the second phase, we're gonna go top, middle, and then top again. So that should bring us over to Bowser. Shoot a couple fireballs. Alright, that was a good fight. So now we got one more world remaining. So we're in world 8. 8-1 is the longest stage. And in the any percent route, there's like a thing called good judges, bad judges. So there's like a buzzy beetle that I stomped on early on, and there's a star block that's coming up. If we hit the first pixel of that block, it'll pretty much position the flag to be at the very top of it, and you can actually save a frame rule that way. With Warpless, you don't necessarily have to do that, but I still do it anyway. Okay, so now we're done with the stage here. I shoot that one Koopa at the end. That's pretty much to give me a much better jump, instead of having to like jump across the Koopas. Alright, 8-2. You could go for Bullet Bill glitch here, but we're not going to be doing that. And there's also a safe strat that we can do in this part right here. So this is bonk, brush, boing, and then the last one here is bounce. So that is the Xerox BBBB strat. So Xerox Fiend, who's another Warpless runner, he created that strat to make it a lot easier to get through. Costs a little bit of time, but it's very safe in terms of like marathon runs and races. So now we got 8-3, getting into the home stretch of the game. The calm before the storm, sort of, even though we got Hammer Bros to deal with. Okay, shoot these guys down. Oh, those guys were jumpers. Thankfully we caught them. Alright, so we got one more stage, and that's 8-4. This doesn't look like it's going to sub 20, but that's totally okay. We did have that little bit of a flub in 4-4 and then died in 5-2. Okay, then we got the wall jump room. We're going to set up for a 2-frame wall jump. So I shot a fireball after walking off that pipe. Oh, we missed it. That's alright. Okay, this is the turnaround room. This is actually a wrong warp. Instead of having to go to the pipe to the very right. So if we scroll the screen just far enough, it'll actually take us to this water section.
Alright, so like GG's to Supersonic for those wonderful runs. And definitely fantastic Super Mario Bros. Animaniacs and Sonic 3 and Goals Run.
But it's all good.
Definitely go ahead and follow us on Twitter, SpeedGaming Show, to get updates and announcements about upcoming events.
SpeedGaming for having me.
A brief reminder, we are coming up on the end of a couple. So we have a Super Mario Bros. Perler that ends on Friday. Today at 11:45, we have Super Mario World Perlers ending on Friday at 11:59. So at about 1 p.m. So definitely keep an eye out for that.